Dissent Into The Wormhole, where we discuss everything from ancient civilization to modern day social issues and everything in between. I'm Les.
And I'm Stevie J, and today we're going to be talking about what prison cells look like around the world and prisons in general around the world, because you would be surprised, and I definitely was surprised at how awesome some of these prisons are. I was like, well, how do we check in? I mean, what crime does one have to commit? I've got my balaclava ready. I'm ready to commit some kind of crime. Let's do it. Anyways, how are you?
I'm so good. How are you?
I am fantastic. Just splendid today.
Good.
Yeah. So this topic, I mean, usually when you talk about prisons, obviously it's a negative thing, and I guess in general it is a negative thing because you're being locked up in a place you don't want to be locked up. But yeah, I mean, when you sent me this, I was like, are these places for real? Is this a fantasy land I'm not aware of? Because some of the prisons are amazing. And we hear there's a lot of shows and you hear a lot about, the world's toughest prisons, the world's most dangerous prisons and stuff like that. But you never really hear about the other side.
No, and I remember watching a documentary, probably on Netflix, dozens of years ago, that was all about, I believe it was Netherlands prisons and how they are good at not having repeat offenders. Mm-hmm. Like once you're in, you don't come out. Right. And it's not because the prison is so horrific you don't want to go back. It's because they actually take care of the core issue. They take care of why did this person feel the need to do this thing? They get them the help, they get them the therapy, they teach them, skills, and they don't have repeat occurrences of that. And it's a beautiful spot that they take them to. They don't want to treat them like it's like this bad enough. They're already locked up, like they're away from their families and their children and all that. Like, why are we going to make it worse when we don't have to?
Yeah. Well, their
motto was, we treat everyone how we want to be treated.
Well, and that sounds more like rehabilitation to me than what we're told prison does, like general prisons do. Yeah. They're like, oh, you need to go to prison to be rehabilitated. Now, while you're there, you're going to suffer abuse, you're going to be tortured, there's going to be all kinds of, hardships in there. And
you're also going to go to crime school. That's where a lot of them say, like, I learned my best shit in jail.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
It's like crime university.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I
don't know. Well, I think a lot of us in our countries have it all wrong.
Mm-hmm.
All wrong.
Well, I mean, and then I suppose the other thing too is, there's a cycle, isn't there? Like a lot of people get into a cycle of they go to prison once and then they come out and then sometimes they want to go back. Like, and not necessarily even to, good prisons, but just to, you've said to me before, like you get meals, you get a bed, Yeah. I mean,
my daddy always told me if I ever find myself living on the streets, get myself arrested. Got a bed, a roof over your head, and you got a meal.
Yeah.
More than what you had before.
Well, if you're going to do that, try and get to one of these places first so that it can be...
Well, that's just it. Now I need to get myself in a new country to do that because, some of these are just incredible.
Yeah.
So I'll let you take the first one.
Okay. Now, I am going to no doubt butcher the name of this place, but it says...
That's why I gave it to you. Because I didn't want to butcher the name.
Well played. See what you did there? Well played. Okay. So, this place is called Aranjuez. I don't know. Prison. Aranjuez in Spain. And it says... this prison lets parents and children stay with their incarcerated family members, with Disney characters on the walls, a nursery, and a playground. The goal is to prevent kids from realizing, as long as possible, that the parents behind bars.
What? Protecting the children? What?
Who would have thunk it? Who would have thunk it?
How nice is that? And I had no idea, but I'm going to put in the pictures for each one for the YouTube videos. But that And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, that's not a punishment because your family's there. No, no, no. It's about the children.
Right.
It's about protecting the children because we don't know exactly what that would do to that child to have the whatever parent ripped away,
Yeah.
whatever parent it may be. I think it's good.
I think it's good too.
I would like to know what their comeback rate is. Like, do they have repeat offenders when it comes to this? Because I don't know if you were going to go to jail and everyone had to go live with you, I'd be pretty pissed if we had to do that a second time around.
Right. Yes.
Like, the first time.
That would be frustrating.
Right.
Yeah.
Depending on what you did.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd be pissed if I had to do a second time around or a third time.
Mm-hmm. It's a good point. I think, well, I mean, just looking at some of these places and a place like that, you wouldn't think there'd be too many people coming back around because it seems like actual rehabilitation as opposed to pure punishment and further punishment, whilst they're in there kind of thing.
Right.
Because, I mean, and think about what happened over the last couple of years, the thing that happened.
The thing that shall not be named.
The thing that shall not be named, yeah. People were indoors, locked down, indoors for a couple of years. And how did people feel about that? Do people feel good about it? Of course not.
Nope.
So being locked up, even though it's a nicer place, and I think it's a good thing that there's, it's a nicer environment for them to be in, especially for the kids. But anytime you're told you can't go somewhere, you feel that energetically. So it's still a punishment not being able to go out into the world and do things, see things, see people, do people, all that kind of stuff. But it's just I feel like a more positive way of doing it, I guess.
Yeah. That surprised me how I felt when we all got locked up, that I am an introvert. Like it's rare to see me out and about. It's rare in the history to see me out and about on a regular basis. But as soon as I was told I couldn't go anywhere for the first 2 weeks, I was like, I was built for this, man.
Yeah.
I've been training for this my entire life, 40 plus years. Here we go. And then after like week 4, I was climbing the walls. Climbing the walls. I could not believe how much I could have done that on my own. I could have done that on my own, on my own back of staying home for a month. But being told I couldn't go anywhere was really the thing. It was the limitation put around me I did not like.
Okay, so key question for you then.
Yeah.
If you were told absolutely nothing about COVID, would you have been impacted in any way, really? From a lockdown sense?
No.
Right, but because you did hear about it and you were told, like, don't go outside. You're not allowed. You're going to get arrested and fined and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Because you were told that, all of a sudden, like, there's a shift and you go, well, fuck, I want to go outside now. I want to go do stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for the whole threat of the tickets and the fines and the jail and the this and the that I probably, like, I was pretty hesitant. I wasn't afraid to go out. I was afraid of what's going to happen to me when I get caught being out.
Well, I think 90% of the world was the same. Everyone I know was basically the same. It's like, because I would ask this question, are you afraid of going out because of the disease, or are you afraid of going out because you'll get a fine for like $10,000? And most people are like, oh, fuck, I don't want to get a fine. I don't want to get the fine.
Exactly. I'm not worried about getting the sniffles. I'm worried about getting the fine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I think that was the added bonus that they gave us in order to keep us locked in. Because to tell people just stay in, we'd be like, at the end of the day, a lot of people are like, well, fuck you. Like, don't tell me what to do.
Yeah, exactly.
As soon as you put a price tag on that action, they're like, well, I'm going to think twice.
Yeah.
I got better plans with that money. And it's not going to the government.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Especially for something like that. Like, if you're going to pay a fine, at least it's got to be doing something fun. Like breaking a rule that, is having a whole lot of fun.
That would get you in jail.
Exactly.
If I'm going to be locked up, at least let me have the fun of doing something.
Right.
That I may or may not regret. Forward we go to number 2. I think I screwed myself. Luzira Prison, Kampala, Uganda.
Nailed it.
So this is a Ugandan prison.
Mm-hmm.
So it says, in this prison, inmates are assigned more responsibility that would be in similar prisons in the United Kingdom or the USA. Inmates assume responsibility for maintenance of harmony and functionality of the units where they live, including the growing and harvesting of food, its preparation, and its distribution within the prison. Learning is encouraged, with many men learning and teaching carpentry skills to others. The garden to prisoner ration is about 1 to 35 compared to 1 to 15 in the UK. Aggression among inmates is an exception, not the rule. The recidivism, I can't say that word, so the reoccurring rate is less than 30% compared to with 46% in the UK and 76% reoffender rate in the United States.
76.
Yep.
My God,
compared
like you said.
Uganda, which one would I don't know much about Uganda, but the things that society has wanted me to think, I would think that would be a more violent place for whatever reason. I don't know why I'm thinking this and I feel horrible, but that's where my brain goes. So I'm being honest about it. But they're educating them. They're teaching them how to take care of themselves, take care of others. And with a reoffender rate of 30%, that's good.
That's good. Compared to the USA, which, like you said before, is a crime school. They're just sending them to crime school.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, cool, I'm going to prison. Now I can find some more connections to do even bigger crimes. Yay.
Well, sometimes I wonder, because a lot of crime does originate from within the jails, I wonder if some go back in order to rejig the operation. Mm-hmm. They got to go back into jail to rejig the operation or whatever, just to make the hands-on situation here. Maybe that's it. I don't know. I'm no crime boss or anything, but that's what I.
You're not? I thought you were. Sorry. Oops. Are we live? We're on. We're recording. Tee. Okay, that is very interesting, and I'm glad they put those rates in there as well of recurrence and stuff. The next one, we're moving from Africa all the way to Europe. We're going to Norway. So Bastøy Prison in Horten, Norway. Bastøy Prison is the largest low-security prison in Norway. The prison is located at Bastøy Island in the Oslo Fjord, belonging to Horten municipality. The prison uses the whole island, but the northern part with the beach Nordbutka is defined as open to the public. The prison is organised as a small local community with about 80 buildings, roads, beach zones, cultural landscape, football field, agricultural land and forest. In addition to the prison functions, there is a shop, library, information office, health services, church, school, government social services, dock, ferry service, its own shipping agency, and a lighthouse with facilities to let for smaller meetings and seminars. On Bastøy Prison, the prisoners, some of whom are murderers and arists, live in conditions that critics brand cushy or luxurious. Yet it has by far the lowest reoffending rate in Europe. Wowzers. So they have, this isn't a low-security prison for people who, stole a loaf of bread. This is, for hardcore criminals, but they don't reoffend. Interesting.
And that's it. Even though people are giving it shit for not being harsh enough because they're not sleeping on cement floors.
Right.
That are cold, something tells me a lot of these people are not used to being treated kindly.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that's all it takes.
Mm-hmm.
Is to show someone a little bit of kindness, a little bit of love. Not always, but if they realize that it's actually out there in the world and it can be directed at them and they can accept it and take it in, and people truly do see them for who they are, they can change. People can change. I see it all the time. It's just they have to want to. And other people need to stop beating them down, reminding them of who they used to be.
Yeah, totally. Well, because... yeah, I feel like a lot of those people, as you said, are in prison in the first place because they didn't have anything. They didn't have support. They didn't have, that love that you talked about. And I mean, not everybody. There are some just terrific people out there, but
absolutely,
for people who potentially can rehabilitate, then you don't rehabilitate people by beating them down.
No.
Like that whole negative reinforcement thing, it just doesn't work in the long run. In the long run, yeah. And so I think it's great, and the proof is in the pudding there, so to speak.
Yeah.
With the lowest recurrence rate or reoffending rate in Europe. There you go.
Yeah. Done.
Mm-hmm.
Done. Okay, so we're staying in Norway.
Perfect.
And we're at Halden Prison in Halden, Norway. Halden Prison is a maximum security prison in Halden, Norway. It has 3 main units and receives prisoners from all over the world, but has no conventional security devices. The second largest prison in Norway, it was established in 2010 with a focus on rehabilitation. Its design simulates life outside prison. Among other activities, sports and music are available to the prisoners who interact with the unarmed staff to create a sense of community. Praised for its humane conditions, Halden Prison has received the Amstein Amberg Award for its interior design in 2010 and has been the subject of a documentary. So that is the documentary that I saw that has also received criticism for being too liberal. Yeah, it's everyone who likes to see people tortured because I don't like what they did, torture them.
Mm-hmm.
Do what I like. I want them punished, so you better punish them. That's those people. No, we need to start looking at things like this, because if all prisons treated like, all we got to do, we don't need to fix the wheel is already built. We don't need to fix it. We don't need to recreate it. We just gotta do it over here and leave these archaic and barbaric ideas about how we treat criminals behind. We need to leave that behind eventually at some point, because it's not working.
Yeah. Well, and also, like, those people that are pointing the fingers and they're like, they did something, send them there and punish them and make them live in shitty conditions and all that kind of stuff. Well, they're all very happy to point the finger and say that stuff when it's not them in prison, aren't they?
Right.
But if it was them in prison, they'd be like, oh, well, this is ridiculous. How dare they treat me like this?
Yeah,
so
I'm treated like an animal.
I'm treated like an animal. So, have some humanity, people. Have some humanity. Now, we there's an exception to some of what we're saying here. Like, this is people in general. Those people who are truly horrific, as in, like, just evil
the
people. The Dahmers, the Bundy, like, those people who are just, like, gone. That's not who we're talking about here. We're talking about general, prisoners and people who've committed crimes. And some of those people, there's a percentage, of course, that don't rehabilitate. And that's probably some of those Dharma type people. But the other ones that do, that's a huge success story.
I was just thinking about the Red Rums and the R's of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I think of that, I'm like, well, you did that. Red Rum could have been an accident. It could have been an accident. R was not an accident.
Mm-hmm.
That was not an accident. You meant to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So do they deserve that? If they're never going to do it again, here's the thing. One person gets R'd, they go to jail, they get rehabilitated, they come out, they don't do it again. One person is victimized. Still is one too many. One too many, but still it's one. That person, okay, so, and then you send them to a jail here in the US.
Mm-hmm.
They come out and they do it again and again and again and again. So you've gone from one victim to maybe 5 victims now.
Yeah. Well, that's a good question that you raised there, because you just got me thinking. So for both of those crimes, for Red Rum and R, criminals do get out of jail. Like, they're not always a life sentence. They're not always in there forever. So they do actually get out. And I guess the true answer to your question is you don't know. You don't know if someone's going to reoffend when they get out. They they could play the game and say, yeah, I'm rehabilitated, and then they go and do it. So the true answer is you never really know when they walk out of that prison if they're going to do it again. But you can work on probability, and you can say, what's the probability of someone who's gone through prison in the US reoffending, and what's the probability of someone who's gone through a prison more like Halden in Norway reoffending when they've gone through that totally different experience? And you would say that it's less likely that the one in Norway, the criminal in Norway, is going to reoffend. Much more likely the one in the US is. So you can't really, and I guess like what I'm getting at is inevitably these criminals do get released. So which way should we approach it? The US way, where they're 7 times as likely to reoffend, or the Norway way? The Norway? Should we just call it that? But that's the way I sort of thought of it when you were talking about that, because
very true.
They don't all stay in prison forever, those horrible people. But the best chance to actually stop them reoffending is the Norway.
I agree.
Okay, so from Europe, we're moving over to Japan, to Onomichi Prison. So elderly prisons are becoming more common in Japan as the country continues to age. Onomichi Prison hosts an all-senior population. Inmates have access to handrails, soft food, and spend their working hours. Sorry, my computer's playing up. Knitting and sewing. Well, there you go.
Isn't that nice?
That is nice.
What did these people do?
What? Okay, Japan. You need to tell us. You need to tell us, Japan. What are these elderly people doing, committing crimes? Like, what crimes are they committing over there?
That's what I want to know.
Well,
I'm intrigued now. Now I need to know. Now I need to call them up and say, okay, what'd you do? Come on.
Yeah.
What'd you do? Unless they've just been there for that long, and because the longevity is so long. Maybe they're aging out.
Yes.
Of the prison, like they're aging out of regular population into, so they have to change with
right.
the times.
They get transferred to this prison from another prison, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Either that, or there's a bunch of nanas and papas out there on their souped up scooters with their bling on, just getting the hydraulics going out there, gangster style.
Yeah, I think so. Shivving people left and right.
Yeah. Some green dresses involved as well.
Oh, you know it. Okay, so we're moving over to the Netherlands.
I just saw your face, like, yep, you just saw the name. Norgerhaven Prison in Veenhuizen.
So good. Thank you so much. Inmates at this hard to pronounce prison in the Netherlands have a bed for I'm not even attempting it. Inmates in the prison have a bed, furniture, a refrigerator, and a TV in their cells, as well as private bathroom. The crime rates in the Netherlands are so low that they faced an undercrowding crisis. To solve this problem, the country struck a deal with Norway in 2015 to take all their prison overflow. Now part of Norwegian inmates serve their sentences in Norgerhaven. Oh, I did it.
What? They had it. You did it. Well done. They had an undercrowding problem. Oh my.
What? And it does look quite, there's still bars on the windows and stuff, but honestly, remove the bars and you got where I spend most of my days. I spend most of my days in this room.
Yeah.
I work, and when I'm ready to not work anymore, I leave. But I got my TV, I got my computer, I got everything I need in here. I got my books.
Yeah.
Set.
Well, what it actually looks like in the picture, and people watching YouTube will get to see this, but it kind of just looks like a backpacker's room, like where a backpacker would stay. It
does look like a hostel.
Yeah, like a hostel, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I just love that they've got the lowest crime rate. Now, what's interesting about the Netherlands, of course, we know about the red light district, their position on weed and stuff like that. So, people would look at that. Some people at face value and go, "Oh, the crime must be just off the charts. Look at all that. Look how loose they are over there."
All those heathens.
There's heathens. How do we get a ticket? And then, but they got lowest crime rate.
Right. So how does that work?
Yeah, but I love it. I think that's awesome. Undercrowding crisis. Yeah. Gold.
Whoopsie.
Yeah. Dilly. Well, okay. So moving, where were we then? We were in. I'm not going to make you pronounce it, but the Netherlands. We're in the Netherlands.
Yep.
Now we're moving to Scotland. So number 7 we're up to here. So HMP Addywell in Scotland. And it says, is a learning prison where residents can address their offending behaviour and the circumstances which led to their imprisonment through purposeful activity. Purposeful activities include education, counselling and work. Nature and family contact whilst in prison is also a fundamental element of the rehabilitation process. Now, again, this one does look more prison-like, so to speak. You don't have any award-winning interior design. But, again, it is kind of like a hostel type setup.
It's colorful. It's cheery.
Yeah, you don't have like the dark concrete walls and stuff, yeah.
Right, and the gray and the drab and, you look at everything, you're like, it's raining out. I just know it is.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not one of those rooms. But I like how where it says residents can address their offending behavior and the circumstances which led to it. So you're digging into the emotional core. Like that's what they're aiming at, to see, okay, what emotions were going on? What triggered all of this? Like before X, Y, and Z happened to get you here, what were you feeling? What happened? And you work backwards from there. You can unlock whatever is going on with the person, rip it out, fix it, hopefully fix it if the person wants to be rehabilitated.
Yeah.
But I feel that our prisons just don't do that. They just say, you bad, get in the cell. And that's it. And then they're told they're bad 50,000 times a day.
Yes.
They're never asked, what were you feeling? What was going on? Like,
Well, I feel there's a lot of anger, right? And crime. There's a lot of anger involved with crime. And we've all been angry in our lives at some point, haven't we? Yeah. And when you think about what calms you from that anger, it's not more anger that calms you down from being angry. So, a little bit of love, a little bit of being nice. And it may not always get reciprocated immediately, but it's the only thing that's going to make a difference, really. Because how many times have you seen someone get angry in response to anger, and that actually solves the situation and resolves it, and everybody just calms down?
All the time. It doesn't happen for you?
Yeah, actually, I just go around arguing with everybody to help them. I go around and fight people to help them.
Oh, how much do you charge for that service?
It's free. I'm such a good guy.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, you're right. Like if I'm angry, yelling at me is not gonna. It's not gonna fix it.
No,
it's not gonna fix it.
Absolutely not.
So, yeah.
Anyway, do you want to take us to Russia next?
I will take us to Russia. Black Dolphin Prison. I'm not even going to pretend that I know how to say that, like the actual town.
Yeah.
So at Russia's notorious Black Dolphin Prison on the border of Kazakhstan, inmates share small 50 square foot cells that are set back behind 3 sets of steel doors. Inmates live in a cell within a cell. My God, they're Hannibal Lecter. With 24-hour surveillance, Black Dolphin houses the most brutal criminals, including serial killers, cannibals, and terrorists. A prison lieutenant told National Geographic, which did a documentary on the facility, that the only way to escape is by dying. If you combine all the crimes of the inmates, they have killed about 3,500 people. That's an average of 5 murders per minute.
Whew.
Did you notice how the write-up for this one was such a stark difference between the write-up of the other ones. The other ones are like kind of fluffy. Like,
Yeah.
we got inmates and yeah, they did bad things, but guess what?
We got soft food and knitting in the other places.
Exactly. It's okay. This one, they're like, no, these people kill people, one person every 5 minutes. They're terrorists, they're cannibals, or this or that. I wonder if, was it Ivan the Terrible? Was he Russian?
I think so.
Like, and a cell within a cell. That's a very angry situation. That's a very angry place. I would be angry too if you put me in there.
Well, and like I get it. There, like we said before, there are some people you actually just don't want to probably get out ever. But if you're in this place with the proposition that you're never getting out, well, then you have nothing to lose, do you? So why would you kind of care about anything in that?
Right.
Like if you're already a criminal and you're never getting out of this place, well, you're probably going to just be angry and commit more crimes anyway.
Yeah.
If not for nothing else, keeping yourself entertained, maybe I'll kill 5 people today because that'll entertain me.
Yeah.
Which
Keep
is
me on my toes.
Terrifying, by the way. Please don't ever let me go to Black Dolphin Prison. Does not sound.
We're staying clear away from Russia.
Yeah,
with our antics.
I much prefer the Norway.
Switzerland, on the other hand.
Hey, Switzerland. Okay, so Champ-Dollon Prison in Geneva, Switzerland is the next one. And I like the look of it. Okay, so it says opened in 1977. The main function of Geneva's they're French there, aren't they? A lot of them. Champ-Dollon, maybe. Prison is to hold prisoners before trial and sentencing. The numbers of inmates is constantly increasing, which has led to a chronic problem of overcrowding. 115 different nationalities were represented in the prison in 2010, with just 7.2% being Swiss. Huh.
So people are going to Switzerland thinking that they can do crimes, and they're like,
but they're doing what we talked about. Like, how do we check in? How do we get into this place?
Yeah. Oh, they stole our idea, but it looks quite nice, right? It doesn't look like.
Get a little coffee table in the middle.
Yeah, look, nice blankies and a nice pillow.
Yeah, bookcase,
like nice bright room.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a happy place, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like it.
Okay, so let's see what's going on in California.
Okay.
Because I feel this could be different.
Mm-hmm.
The Las Colinas Detention and Re-Entry Facility, Santa, California. So this prison was designed to be the first detention facility of its kind in the U.S., where environmental and behavioral psychology are used to improve the experience and behavior of both inmates and staff. Well, color me wrong.
Yeah. Well, but isn't it interesting? I'd love to know when this was built, this one, because it says the first of its kind. I bet it's in the last 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, and it's probably the only.
And it's probably the only one, yeah. But, I mean, again, it's not too bad. I mean, I don't know where they get their color schemes from, though. Like, because I feel like some of the other ones that were a little happier feeling were like your yellows and, whites or light colors.
Like the bright blue.
Yeah. Whereas this is sort of, it kind of just makes me depressed actually looking at it.
Orange is the new black.
Right.
Look at the setup.
Yeah.
I wonder if I wonder.
Good point.
Because if this was the first of its kind, I wonder if they modeled it after this.
Yes, possibly.
Huh.
Interesting.
It's not as horrible as
No.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and it's good. Like, if you look at this glass half full, it's good. They're taking a step to at least create one. Maybe it's only one, but it's one. They've got one at least.
Yeah.
But I mean, as with a lot of things, I mean, and this isn't to upset anyone who's proud of being an American, but the US will tell the rest of the world how amazing they are and they're the best at everything, but clearly not. Like, you look at how the Scandinavian countries particularly are light years ahead of
Yes.
the US in so many ways. So,
Yeah.
Maybe it's time to take a little leaf out of that book and head a different direction.
Yeah. And I give my country the same advice.
Mm-hmm.
The same advice. Like it's time to look that way and say, okay, what are they doing that we're not? And how can we be better?
You know how you just mentioned Orange is the New Black, right? And something that came up in that, it just reminded me there's money to be made in prisons. So it would make sense for the US are, probably more focused on the more prisoners they get, the more money they get. Because it's not necessarily about the rehabilitation, whereas in these other countries, it's like, well, we're actually focusing on the people.
Right.
We're not just trying to get as much cattle in as we can so that we get paid per prisoner.
Right. Good.
Because
good thought. Yes.
And the more money so they get their money per prisoner. And of course, like any business, the more that you actually spend that money on the prisoners, the facilities, all of that kind of stuff, the less profit you make. So make the conditions shit, make the guards shit, make everything shit, and you're going to make lots of money. You'll have a whole lot of reoffenders, which, you get paid again for them coming in again.
Right.
So
it's like double. It's like a double. I'm getting paid off the head of the same person. That sounded horrible, but it's what I meant, but not what I meant.
Yeah.
I said what I said, but not what I meant.
I said what I said, but I don't want it reread.
Yeah, please don't hold it against me. Okay, so let's go to Germany.
All right, Germany. Where are we, Germany? Sorry, my computer has played up for a minute there. Deutschland. Here we go. Landsberg prison. So Landsberg am Lech, Germany. This is the prison where Hitler wrote Mein Kampf, and 278 Nazis were executed for war crimes. Nowadays, the conditions are considerably better in Landsberg. The progressive prison provides 36 courses in their central training center for occupations such as bakers, electricians, painters, butchers, carpenters, tailors, shoemakers, heating and ventilation workers, and bricklayers. Interesting. It looks, I don't know, a little more prison-like, but it's still not really looking like a prison. It's sort of more looking, I don't know, what do you think? Like, just like a room.
A cheap hostel.
Yeah.
A cheap hostel is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
But they got a TV, you got a bed, you got a sink and a toilet.
Yep.
Well, you got your books. What else do you need? Really? I'm just anything to do with Hitler. And I understand it's Germany, but I don't know. This is just me and my feelings behind it. Burn it to the ground.
Yeah.
Anything to do with anything that he touched, burn it to the ground. No one needs any reminders. Especially the people that are still here that experienced his handiwork firsthand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just burned to the ground. It's not something to brag about that he was in there writing Mein Kampf.
No, not at all.
Anyway.
I agree. Get rid of it.
We're going back to Japan.
Cool.
Abashiri prison in Japan. At this prison in Japan, guards inspect inmates' rooms once a day. The prison houses offenders with sentences of 8 years or less. Life inside is very strict. However, there's no record of gang violence, drugs, or red rum at the prison. It has a souvenir shop in front of the main gate where they sell goods made inside the prison. Items sold range from prison candy to all sorts of handmade craft work.
Well, as long as there's not shivs, then that's kind of cool.
There's no record of gang violence. No no drugs, no red rum.
Wow.
And they make arts and crafts to sell at the gift shop. How are they able to pull that off?
Well, it did say it was very strict. So
good point.
The strictness.
They didn't say how strict.
And they didn't say what they do to maintain discipline there either.
Right. Good point.
So I'd be curious to find that question out. But what you've just read sounds good. But I'd love to know what that disciplinary process is.
Yes, because to get that many people to behave, oh, I can only imagine.
Yeah.
I can only imagine what happened, and it only had to happen once for everyone to say, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll do what you say.
So from there, let's go to the Philippines.
All right.
So from Japan to the Philippines. So this is Cebu Provincial Detention and Rehabilitation Center in the Philippines. It says it's a maximum security prison where the prisoners perform dance routines as a part of their daily exercise and rehabilitation. Many of their performances are filmed and released online, making them a popular feature among fans and veritable online celebrities.
Yeah.
Okay.
You haven't seen these guys?
I don't think I have. Well, if I have, I haven't known what they, like where they're from,
Right.
or what they're doing. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. They, that's what they do.
Very interesting.
I forget which one they did. They did one, was it Michael Jackson or something? I forget what they may have done Thriller. They may have done the Thriller. They're quite good. But if that's what they're putting their time and effort into, they're not putting their time and effort into learning how to up their criminal game, right? They're getting exercise. They're outside.
Yep. Doing something productive.
Exactly. Now this one.
Well, the picture here.
I'm not even going to the country for fear of getting arrested. Just for, I don't know. I may look at some the wrong way.
Yeah. I feel trapped already.
It's in El Salvador. I'm so sorry. Penal de. I can't.
Yeah,
I can't.
I'm out with this one as well.
Okay, we're both out.
Yeah.
It's in San Miguel, El Salvador.
Yes.
And holy shit. These cells are just 12 feet wide and 15 feet tall, but they're usually packed with more than 30 people. They were initially constructed to serve as 72-hour holding cells, but many inmates stay for more than a year. Most of the days are spent pulling apart their clothes and using the thread to sew together hammocks where they sleep stacked on top of one another like cords of wood.
Oh my God. 30 people. Ew.
It's just a cage.
Ew.
Honestly, it's a cage.
Well, just to think of that, like forget like the dangers of the crimes that could have happened, like in the attacks that would happen to people in there. What about the health in general? Like, how does anyone survive just on a health basis? Like, there'd be so much infection and disease and gross.
Yeah, where are the toilets?
I think
I don't want to know, do I?
No, you don't. I don't.
I'm looking at it.
I think you are. The cell is the toilet, I'm sure.
That hardens people. That will harden anybody.
Mm-hmm.
You are not coming out the same person you went in.
Uh-uh.
Oh, Jesus. Let's go somewhere nice.
Okay, let's go to Norway again. So we're back to Norway. Oslo's Skien prison in Oslo, Norway. Prisons in Norway are meant to mimic outside conditions as much as possible to prepare inmates to re-enter society. At Oslo's Skien prison, inmates have private bathrooms, a TV, video games, and access to a gym and yard. Mass murderer Anders Breivik is currently serving his 21-year sentence there. He tried to sue the state over cruel conditions in 2016. However, this man's prison life would seem luxurious to most people. His cell has 3 rooms, one for living, one for studying, and a third for physical exercise, as well as a television, a computer without internet access, and a game console. He's able to prepare his own food and do his own laundry.
What is he complaining about?
I just have to say this in response to Mr. Anders. A bitch, please. Like, right. you have what more than what some people have in their actual lives outside of prison. So,
right.
Yeah.
So shut up.
Shutty.
Take your sentence and just enjoy your three room.
Yeah. Three
Luxury
bedroom
suite.
stay. Yeah. But it sounds like a decent kind of prison.
Yeah.
And look, that's, I mean, he's serving what, a 21-year sentence? So maybe by the time he's finished his 21 years, he may actually get some rehabilitation. Who knows? Who knows? It may occur.
Yeah.
But at this point,
What a guy.
Shut up, dude. And,
Yeah.
and just be grateful that's where you are. And you're not in El
We
Salvador.
should just send him a picture of El Salvador and say, "You want to go here?
Yeah.
We got room for you. We can transfer you. We'll send you here."
Yeah.
What do you think?
Perfect. Or you could take 30 people from El Salvador and put them in his rooms, in his 3-bedroom suite, and see how he likes that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oy, oy, oy.
Oy, 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 indeed.
Well,
So, what are your prisons like?
well, I've only visited, like I've only been put into like 3 or 4 different ones. So no, as far as I'm aware, our prisons are, much like the UK and US, I feel. They're, harsh, bleak, overcrowded, not nice places. I've never actually been to one. I've never even visited one. And one closed down about 20 years ago, which was called 20 years ago, maybe a bit longer than that. It was called Pentridge Prison, and that was one that was around for a very long time. So it still had all the old stonework as the boundaries and everything. That was a massive prison. But I did a tour around that, and no thanks.
Yeah,
it's like a medieval prison almost. Really?
Yeah, ours recently closed too. Our medieval one. It's where so ours was where Paul Bernardo was housed, and it too had like the stone wall and everything, and like the big old rolled up spiky things at the top. They shut it down. It was very very run down, very old. So they moved him, I think, to Quebec or something. But they shut that prison down. But you can do tours of it, and people say like it is just horrific, horrific. But I did used to do volunteer work at a men's prison here, and honestly, it wasn't that bad. Like they had rooms with cots, and I believe if depending on where you were on the hierarchy, like you even had like your own shower or something. But for the most part, it was the men were nice, they were respectful, they were,
Okay.
It wasn't what I expected when I walked into a jail because everyone told me, "Les, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it." It's a great experience. I loved it. We used to go and play volleyball with them.
Huh. Okay. That's cool.
It was a great experience. And the guys were nice and it was clean and they didn't behave and, it was just not what I was expecting, but they kept it clean and they kept it orderly.
Well, it is a good experience and good on you for doing it. Like, especially, venturing somewhere that could be a little scary and potentially, and other people telling you not to do it. So yeah, good on you for doing it. I think that's cool.
Well, what's going to happen to me? It's the safest place for me. It's the safest place for any visitor is a jail because you're number one. You're the number one,
Yeah.
The guards are looking after you to make sure, but the guards, we only had one guard. Like 30 guys, 10 of us, and one guard. Like that's how laid back it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, I would totally do it again if, it got closed down for the thing we do not discuss.
Well, I feel like for me, if I'm going to get arrested ever, I'm going to make sure I'm somewhere in Scandinavia, I think. Like Norway, or maybe the Netherlands even. That looks pretty cool. Maybe I go to the Netherlands.
Yeah, I feel the Netherlands is the place to be.
But I also feel like it could be hard to get arrested in the Netherlands because they're liberal. And so something that's like a felony in the US, for example, is probably not even a crime in the Netherlands.
Oh, you're absolutely right. Like the things that I'm thinking of doing doesn't include what they did to get there.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's what it doesn't include.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, something silly just to get me in the door.
Exactly. Yeah.
And they won't accept it.
No. It's like, try
I
harder.
wonder why that's why the rates are so low. I wonder why the visitation rates are, that's why like, the visitation, like the inmates are so low because they're not so controlled as we are here.
Mm.
We are so controlled with everything that we do.
Yeah, well,
slightest infraction, you can go to jail.
You use that thing that we don't talk about, and those fines and rules and laws and all that came from nowhere, like literally from nowhere. Someone just all of a sudden decided, you know what, today we're going to start charging people $10,000 to go outside of their house.
Yep.
And so it's a nothing thing. So the more laws you create, the more laws there are to break. That doesn't make them right. It doesn't make them appropriate laws.
Exactly.
It just makes them law. So you know,
exactly.
But I hope everyone found this interesting. We did. This has really, you know, been a good topic to talk about. And I wasn't aware that there were so many decent prisons out there as well, among the rest of them.
Yeah. And good on those countries for doing well and rehabilitating the ones that you can and just showing the rest of us how we're all fucking up.
Exactly.
Like, good job. Good job. Show us how it's done.
Yeah.
We won't follow suit, but we'll watch it. We'll watch with pride.
We'll watch and applaud, but we're still going to continue with this fuckery over here.
Yeah, exactly. Because we think we're right.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's it. We'll see everybody next time. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Have a great day, guys.
Bye.